Welcome, I'm Terry Carter. Today we're going to talk about understanding the blues form. I just played a little blues in A for you, which will be the key that we're using today. So welcome, thank you for being here to our daily lessons here at Ukulele Like the Pros. Thank you for following and being here and subscribing and sharing. Without you, I'm not here, so thank you for all of that. Don't forget, all these lessons you can grab the sheet music to at ukulelelikethepros.com, and that will be under the masterclass section. So grab all this stuff and get ready and get prepared with us. And so we are live, so be sure to feel free or be sure to ask a question or just let me know that you're here, say hi, and be part of the Ukulele Like the Pros community. So, shall we just jump in? Let's do it. Okay. So, blues is something that's very near and dear to my heart, and I love the blues. I love playing the blues. I'm actually in the process of writing a blues, how to solo use over the blues course. And what I love about the blues is not only the music itself, but also how it's so important in our transition to rock and roll. Take the early 50s, mid 50s, when guys like Elvis and Jerry Lee Lewis, Little Richard were coming out, and they basically were taking the blues, Chuck Berry of course, and just speeding it up. Instead of playing a shuffle feel, they're playing straight eighth notes. And rock and roll was born. And then of course that's led us up to, all the different kinds of music that we've had over the years, from psychedelic rock to metal to glam rock to grunge to what we hear on the radio today. It's all been influenced by that early rock music, which was of course influenced by the blues. The other thing I love about the blues is that it's simple. It's for the most part 12-bar blues. There's 8-bar blues, there's 16-bar blues, but the majority of blues that we listen to are 12 bars. And so the form itself is simple. But what you can do within that form is really what sets the difference of someone like Dwayne Allman of the Allman Brothers versus, someone else is, why is he so great? He just took that blues form and did incredible things with it. The other thing about the blues is that you can go anywhere in the world and you may not be able to speak the language, but if you have your ukulele and you sit down with somebody and hopefully they know what they're doing and you just call out a blues, most of the time people can play the blues. And so it's almost like that real way of communicating with people even if you don't know the language. So super important that we know this. We're not going to be focused so much on playing the blues today, but understanding these 12 bars. Okay, so I got some charts for us I'm going to throw up. And I want you just to look at them for a second, and then we'll dive deeper into what they are here in a second. So if I throw something like this up, let me get this out of the way. So if I throw something like this up, do you understand what it is? Or do you even understand what you're looking at? And what you're looking at here is the 12-bar blues form. Notice we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have all the measures numbered. And then you're seeing a few things here. One is a key signature, which is those 3 sharps on the left-hand side. Don't worry about that so much. Just know that that's the key of A, and that's what we're teaching today. But what I want you to focus in on is those Roman numerals that are above the staff. So notice measures 1, 2, 3, and 4 all have the Roman numeral 1. Measures 5 and 6 have the Roman numeral 4. 7, 8 go back to the Roman numeral 1. Then your measure 5, or measure 9, excuse me, and it has a Roman numeral 5. Measure 10 has a Roman numeral 4. Measure 11 and 12, which I'm calling the turnaround, 11 has a Roman numeral 1. And the last measure there, measure 12, has a Roman numeral 5. So what is all this? This is your blues form. And those Roman numerals are referring to the chords that you're going to see in this blues. So now all we have to do is figure out a key. We could pick any key. It doesn't matter what key it is. And all we have to do is simply plug in the notes from that chord or that scale into this Roman numeral. Sound confusing? Well, maybe it is. Maybe it is, but maybe it's not. I'm going to hopefully break that ice for you. So let's take the key of A. So we're going to be in the key of A. Let me pull up my chart here. So let me throw this on the screen. Okay, you can still see my head. All right, so this is the key of A major. Now, even if you don't know that this is the key of A or the scale of A major, you're just going to have to trust me that, let me make sure it's right. Okay, it looks right. You're going to have to trust me that this is the key of A major. So if I was to play this on the ukulele, I would play these notes. A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, and A. Okay, let's go back to that. Okay, so notice underneath this scale, if I just go up alphabetically, A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, and A, if I just put Roman numerals under each particular letter, so the A is Roman numeral 1, the B is Roman numeral 2, the C sharp is Roman numeral 3, the D is Roman numeral 4, the E, Roman numeral 5, the F sharp, Roman numeral 6, the G sharp, Roman numeral 7, and then back to the A note, which is Roman numeral 8, or which is the same as 1. Notice also that I have highlighted the 1, Roman numeral 1, which is the A, Roman numeral 4, which is the D, and Roman numeral 5, which is the E. So guess what we're going to do with those notes? Remember them, A, D, and E. We're going to plug them back in to our blues form. So again, without showing you, with telling you, I'm just going to plug this in. So check this out. We're going to bring this back up again. All right, so now here's our 12-bar blues again. And we see those Roman numerals yet again. And so now we're going to take those notes that we know, and we're going to plug them into this form here, this 12-bar blues form. So what was the 1 chord? Well, I can pop this up and let you see as a cheat sheet. What was number 1? Now, that was the A chord, okay? So that means for measures 1, 2, 3, and 4, we're going to play the A chord. Now, the blues, instead of just playing A major, a lot of times they're 7th chord. So instead of playing necessarily just A major, we're going to play an A7 chord. Just because it sounds a little bit more bluesy and jazzy. So just in case you need help on that, there's your A7 chord. So we're going to play this chord for 4 measures. Okay, so measures 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let me bring this back up again. We're going to play the A chord. Okay, so let's just do that. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. So just chord notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's ones. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's twice. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we just covered a third of the blues, which is the 1 chord. Now, what happens in the next set of measures is you go to the, nope, that's not the right one. Where is the right one? Nope. Nope, maybe I don't have it on this particular small thing. Okay, so we're going to have to bring this chart back up. All right, so what goes on here, you notice, is when we get to measures 5 and 6, we go to the 4 chord. Well, do you remember what the 4 chord is in the key of A? Let me bring that up for you. It was the D. So now for measures 5 and 6, we're going to plug in the D chord. Or, again, what I said was the D7 chord. Okay, so let's plug that in. Let me get this stuff out. I got a lot of moving parts here. So the D7 chord, which is our 4 chord in the key of A, right? A, B, C, D. Just count up alphabetically. Okay, so there's your D7 chord. So let's play that for 2 measures. 1, 2, just chord notes. 3, 4, and 2, 3, 4. All right, so now we're new to the next 2 measures, which is measures 7 and 8. And if you notice from our chart here, what do we go to? We go to, well, measure 9 goes to the 5 chord. And what is the 5 chord? Bring this up again. E, right? So E, or, like I mentioned, E7. Then you go back to the 4 chord where we already know what that is. The 4 chord is the D, or D7. Then our turnaround goes to the 1 chord in measure 11, which we know is the A7. And then the 5 chord again, which is the E7. All right, so let's go over that. So we go to the measure, and I do have a thing for that. There we go. Let me bring all my icons up. There we go. So now we're in the last 4 bars. We got the 5 chord, which is E7, which is on the screen. And we do that for 1 measure. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we go to the 4 chord and measure, well, that should be 10. It says 2, but 10. 2, 3, 4. Then we go to the 1 chord, which is, as you know, A7, 2, 3. And then the last measure, which should say measure 12, goes to the E7 chord. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's play this. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 5 chord E7. 1, 2, 3, 4. To the D7. 1, 2, 3, 4. To the A7. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we go back to the E7. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, so now let's take a look at this. We'll play that again, don't worry. But now if we take a look at this, you'll see that I've now plugged in the chords above the Roman numerals. So you see now that in the key of A, the 1 chord is A or A7. We do that for 4 bars. Then we go to measure 5 and 6. We go to the 4 chord, which is, in this key, D7. We go back to the A7 chord. Then the last 4 bars, we go E7, D7, A7, and then we E7. And then guess what? Is you repeat the whole thing over and over again. And that's the blues. 12 bars, that is repeated over and over again. That's cyclical, right? It's just the same thing over and over again. All right, so let's try this now. I got some new things here I can throw up on the screen for us. All right, so let's do this. Here we go. 1, 2, we're going to do chord notes just on A7 chord. And 3, 4, and 3, 2, 3, 4, and 4, 2, 3, 4, and D7. There's the right one. 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2. Now back to the A7 and we go to the 5 chord E7, D7, A7, and to the E7. 2, 3, 4. And then guess what? We're going to go ahead and repeat the whole thing again. 2, 3. Here we go. Top and Just strumming it real nice simple for now. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 chord D7. Back to the A7 chord and 2. Now we're getting to the last 4 bars, which is E7, 4, D7, A7, E7, and then guess what? You repeat it all again. I'm laughing because I just think that technology is such a great thing sometimes to be able to do this stuff and show you all this live. And just, I'm feeling in a good mood today, happy to be alive and happy to be here with you. So I'm going to do a quick check-in here on my live feed to see if how we're doing. And we're not done with this yet. We're still going to go over some of this. Oh, where am I? Where'd I go? There I am. Okay. So let's do it now. Let's just, why don't we do a new rhythm? How about instead of 4 chord notes, where do we go? This is simple. Down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down. All right, just as simple. I'm using my first finger now to strum this. So here we go. I'm going to pull this back up for us. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and A7. I need an assistant here, and 5 chord E7, D7, A7, E7, 2, repeat, and A7. 1, 2, 3, 4, and my screen moved, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, A7, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and E7, and D7, and A7, 2. Now let me just play a little bit. Something different, still a 1 chord. Changing it up a little bit. 1, 2, 3, and hear these changes. What I want to happen over time is that I want you to be able to hear these changes, because blues guys don't have to count these measures, because you get to the point where you feel it, and you just know where you are because you can hear the difference between the 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord. And a lot of times you can hear that turnaround. Remember that last two bars that gets you back to the top. And a lot of times the drummers will do some kind of fill, or the energy will be big and get you right back to the top. So this is what I want you to start doing, is getting this down and getting it in your head. Because then what you can do is you can take this chart that we saw, and remember this Roman numeral thing that we were looking at earlier, and you can apply it to any key. Right? We just happen to do today the key of A. I don't want to get into too many other keys today. But you can do really any kind of key you want. So, for example, I think earlier I was kind of jamming. I was... So this is that same thing we just did, the blues, except instead of being in the key of A, I was up in the key of C. All right, so don't worry about that. We'll have other lessons for that. I just want you to grab this first concept. Before I get out of here, I got one more concept to throw at you, and I don't actually have a chart here for it, unfortunately. But I'm just going to walk you through it. The other thing, and I know because I've been told by some of my other instructor, professor friends I know that I need to go over this. Okay, so what I'm going to go over is this. Check this out. Did you see it? It already went by. I'll do it again. Here's your 5 chord, 4. Here's the top. Here's going to happen right here. All right, quick change. That's what I was getting at. There's a thing called the quick change that happens in blues. Because you notice the first 4 bars here of this blues is always just the 1 chord. And that's cool. I mean, that happens in a lot of blues. But a lot of blues also likes to use what's called a quick change. And when you're playing with somebody, a lot of times if they want a quick change, they'll say, let's play this with a quick change. And what that means is you're going to take, let me see, everything's reversed here for me. You're going to take this measure right here, the second measure, and notice it says 1. Instead of playing a 1 chord there, you're going to play the 4 chord there. Remember what the 4 chord is? D7. Okay, so that means you're going to play the A7 for measure 1. Then you're going to go to the quick D7 for measure 2. That's a quick change. And then you're going to go back to the 1 chord for measure 3 and for measure 4. Okay, so let's just try that. All right, it's not here. It doesn't say 4 here, but we're going to do it. So measure 2, we're going to play the 4 chord, which is D7. So watch this. 1, 2, 3. So we got measure 1, A7. Now quick change to D7. That's measure 2. And then back to the first measure chord. And 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's all it is. It's pretty simple, but that's called the quick change. Okay, and all it means is when you go to the 4 chord in measure 2. Okay, so check this out. Back to A. I'm going to play with the quick change. Let's just do that rhythm. Down, down, up, down. I want you to play with me. So 1 chord to the 4 chord and back to the 1. A 1, 2, 3. So A7. Now D7. That's your quick change. Back to A7. Now D7. Everything else is the same. Here we go, top, A7, quick change. Back to the A. That's all it is. It's the only thing that changes. Everything else is the same. To the 4 chord. And. So now you got the 12-bar blues, both with no quick change and with a quick change. So hopefully that helped. You got a little bit out of it. We got a lot to come. Even though the blues are simple, there's a lot to it. All right, so I'm going to take you out. I'm just going to play a little something. I'm not sure what I'm going to play. I'm going to go back to, I'll just do this here, the blues in A here. So here we go. 1, 2, One more time. Quick change. Just have a little fun with you. All right, that's going to do it. We'll see you in the next lesson.